Hey guys, pal Icarus here, welcoming you to, well, just a talking video really, but before I get to chatting with you guys, I was just going to show you what my character in Runescape looks like. I obviously got him a little more customized since the last time you saw me using Runescape as a backdrop to do a talking video. And I'm actually just about to go into the wildy, so I stopped because, you know, in Wilderness, your cosmetic chain overrides, as they call your transmog or whatever you call it in any, whatever game you play is just aren't active because this is a PvP area. Why am I going to a PvP area? Because I am trying to do this thing, which requires me to sacrifice or bury 2,000 bones. Sacrifice at an altar is a little faster than bury, especially if you use this chaos altar out here. But that's only if you don't get don't get killed by another player while you're out here, which it happens. It doesn't happen as often here at this altar because the PKers who are actually trying to get some kind of value out of their player killing habits will realize that by the time they kill you, you'll likely have gone through most of your inventory of bones if you are just doing one inventory load at a time. A lot of people will bring a Beast of Burden familiar out here with them to grab more. And for thinking I was going to talk to you just about life and the channel in general, I'm talking an awful lot about the game now, aren't I? Well, anyway, yeah, that yak track thing has been I just lost track of time doing that and forgot about, didn't think to do anything else. I am nearly done with this thing, and it's been a long, long road, and I probably, part of that road would probably been better served taking a break to do a proper video for you guys on some other game. Or even doing videos as I go along the way of this to tell you how things are going and to cover some RuneScape content, because a lot of people have suggested that I do more RuneScape videos, but at the same time, RuneScape is a very grindy game, like painfully grindy game. It's reasonably fun. I clicked the wrong button. Get back to that altar. I meant to click this button to get my aura out. It's December, so the festive aura can give me a bonus experience while I do things. Okay. But, yeah, people suggest I do RuneScape content, which, RuneScape is ungodly grindy. It's still fun to play when you have free time and just feel like dumping it into something that doesn't require too much effort. But at the same time, that grindiness makes it so that it's nearly impossible to record anything worth watching with RuneScape unless you spend like 6 to 8 hours recording and then edit it down to just like a half an hour of the fun parts. And those of you who've been following the channel since day one know that we have a pretty hardline stance on no edits. We might play off camera, we might pause in the midst of recording and restart later, so we skip what we know is going to be a boring part. But we do no edits at all, and part of that is just me wanting to be lazy. I'll admit that. But the bigger part of that is I've seen how Markiplier's more recent videos have gotten just over-editing into the point where you really can't follow them. It's more just random, wherever there's a joke, he gets back into the action. And then there's 8-Bit Ryan. For all I can tell, he's a great guy and all, but he's a great guy who over-edits his videos into oblivion. And I feel that if I even started editing at all, I'd just be too tempted to keep editing to add cute little effects to make it more funny or interesting, and then I'd go very quickly down a slippery slope into 8-Bit Ryan or current-day Markiplier territory. So, let's see, if I'm going to do a proper update on how things have been going, I guess I got to tell you about my car. even though it doesn't really, well, it does kind of affect the channel because I was saving up money to get a new computer so I could play some of the games that crashed my current computer, but that money had to go to getting a new car because I crashed my car into a deer. It's more the deer jumped out in front of me because that's always how people hit deer, but considering that deer are going to do what deer are going to do, obviously I got to take fault for that, so I crashed my deer into my car. I crashed my deer into a car. I crashed my car into a deer, ruined the front end. It's still drivable, but thankfully one of my brothers, he's not a gamer, so I can't quite give him a gamer nickname for the YouTube channel, but he's one of the most helpful guys I know in my entire life. He found me a good deal on a car that's even better than the one that I had to replace. So I got to go about an hour's drive away to get a new car and blow my computer savings on that. And so now I got to start fresh on saving up for a new computer so that I could play the games. So I can record some of those games that I want to play for you guys that make it crash, like Hollow Knight, and I mean, I already recorded Subnautica, but Subnautica is one of the biggest examples of a game I like to play that makes my computer crash because I've missed it so much, and I'm lucky I managed to finish it before my computer started this weird behavior where it likes some games and hates others. There are a number of indie horror games that I tried, and while I was trying to record them, just poof. I just can't remember the titles of all of them because it is a substantial list. Kirsty and I have also been considering starting up an instance of our channel on Mixer. I think I'd wait till I have her with me to do a video so I can introduce both me and her in a fresh video for introducing us on to whatever new followers might appear over there. Over where? Okay, yeah, anyway. That is about it for news, other than a brief discussion I had with one of my clannies on this game, right here on RuneScape, that made me kind of sad. Because other than the disagreement we had in that discussion, he is a great guy. I'm not going to say his name because, I mean, if any of you play RuneScape, you might hunt him down and flame him or hate something. I don't know. Anonymity is probably the best policy. I don't even like talking about people behind their back, but it brings me into a point about MMO gaming and player-driven economies that I've always hated. You see, we were randomly just chatting, shooting the breeze as usual, when he brought up how in RuneScape here you could level from 75 to 99 fletching really, really easily and very profitably, like make 80 mil gold just making rune arrows, because free-to-play players cannot make their own arrows. Or so my clanmate thought. You see, fletching and rune crafting are two skills that used to be member only. Used to be only for subscribing players. The free community did not have access to them at all. And when but them two skills going free to play is what made me come back to the game. When I heard, they probably went free to play long before I got news of it, but when I heard that you can make your own runes, make your own arrows as a free player, that's what brought me back to the game. Because it wasn't worth it to try leveling as a ranger or a mage in this game when you were just so dependent upon the member community and their potential price gouging on these items in order that you need to use to level these skills. So of course I told my friend, my clanmate, that hey, you know free players can make their own arrows now, right? Yeah, I mean your method might still be a nice easy way to level, but it's probably not profitable anymore. And he immediately swore and said, well, that ruins the game. I'm like, No, it doesn't. It ruins one way of making a profit off of fletching. And to be honest, that way of making a profit off of fletching is just a predatory business practice, because you control the market, you control the price values, and you're going to just charge people every dime they have for the arrows they need to level their ranged. This, of course, only made him more mad with talking about how, but without those two skills being member only, us member players don't have anything specific that the free players need. It's like, we shouldn't. I couldn't understand his standpoint there, because we shouldn't, really. The free community should not be the only reason the free community should be dependent upon the member community at all is because the member community are the ones who are paying to keep the game running. They shouldn't be dependent in-game upon the member community to get their resources, because that's how you open the door to these predatory business practices like price gouging on things that are absolutely needed in order to level that, oh, we can't make ourselves, or we couldn't back in the day. Now, I'm all for being rewarded, for a game rewarding you for putting in the time and effort to find a good strategy to level up, and especially to get higher level, or to pay your way through a paywall. You do all that work, or pay that real-world cash money, you deserve to get something. But if that reward comes at the cost of someone else, then it's not the cost of someone else who is also trying to climb that leveling gap, or who simply doesn't have the money to cross that paywall. There's a problem. That is just broken, and it's treating the free community as a resource strictly for the member community to exploit. But you see this everywhere with any kind of player-driven economy, not just when there is a paywall gap between use of a skill. You'll see items that should be common, but people do everything they can to get a monopoly on the supply of them, and they'll turn around and charge exorbitant rates for it. I recently heard that it's not Anthem, is it? My big brother Seth is trying to make himself some gear in another game he plays that I don't, because it's primarily a shooter game with some light RPG mechanics, which I have played a couple primarily shooter games with some RPG mechanics, and in the case of like Fallout 3, I loved it to death. Oh, that's another game my computer crashes on. But in this game, I think it's either Destiny 2 or Anthem, but I don't think it's Anthem because, well, nobody really liked Anthem all that much to stick with it. Not even the people who actually do like that style of game. But in any case, he wanted to craft himself something, and in that game, you apparently had to train up every single skill to make one item, or you were dependent upon the player-driven economy to buy the items made by the other skills that are components. And but that game's marketplace has both a minimum price and a maximum price to prevent this kind of price gouging from happening, and so a lot of people just won't post items on the marketplace because they don't feel it's worth it to make a reasonable profit rather than making a huge profit by price gouging. If they can't price gouge, they're not willing to sell, and that is dumb. But I'm glad to hear at least one game out there has put in this maximum price fix to prevent this kind of price gouging behavior, because it's just sad and insulting that we as gamers, as a community, cannot be trusted to offer each other fair prices for stuff. When Runescape first introduced this grand exchange, what it calls its auction house, way back when I was playing it in the first place, I was very iffy about the Grand Exchange at all, because I know Jagex, the company behind RuneScape, was introducing it as an attempt at trying to streamline the player economy so it's easier for players to trade with each other. But as I was already predicting at the time, it basically became a tool for the people who were already had skills leveled to make resources that would take other players essentially months of their time in order to get by themselves, if they get them at all, because a lot of these items are random chance to drop. It would essentially just be a tool to enable players who already had these things and these skill levels to make the things that are actually makeable out of them, to price gouge, to prey upon their fellow players of the game, all justified by the whole, well, it's just supply and demand. If my price isn't fair, nobody would pay it. Wrong. Your price can be completely unfair, totally price gouging, totally horrible in every possible way, and people will pay because they're desperate, because they need this thing in order to progress in the game. And I know it's just a game, it's not that important, but if you're taking something somebody needs and raising the price on it artificially to the point where people can't afford it, or people have to dedicate essentially all of their playtime just to raising money so they can afford it, you're not making the game better for anyone but yourself. I mean, we can switch to a real life example if we want to, with the whole insulin snafu. How there are people out there dying with diabetes who need insulin who need this medicine to survive. Darth Ma over in the other room, she's a diabetic, and luckily she's got insurance that pays the majority of the bill for her insulin, because the prices are outrageous. But there are people out there dying because they can't afford it. And there are actually some people out there, it's almost funny how stupid they are. There are some people out there who say, well, if you can't afford it, don't buy it. And that'll force them to change their prices. If you don't buy it, you're going to die anyway, because this is a disease that kills people. One of my clannies the other day made me very self-conscious by pointing out that I need a new webcam, or I need some other source of light than the one directly above my head, because apparently this is not ideal, and I kind of agree with them, but at the same time, I don't have anywhere good to put another light source. There's the part of my entertainment center that's under my TV, but then the light source would be probably blocked by my keyboard tray. There's my keyboard tray itself, but then I'd knock it over when I have to touch my keyboard. I'm still thinking of other possibilities. Maybe I might be able to slide if I get a short enough light source, like a tea light thing, I could put it. Yeah, I don't know. This video's probably gone on long enough for the little things I have to talk about. Oh wait, I got one more thing worth mentioning. I recently gotten back to World of Warcraft. Don't worry, I'm not going to be doing boring World of Warcraft videos. Or I'm going to try not to. I might use it as a backdrop like I'm using RuneScape right now to talk about other things, but in this case I'm using RuneScape because, well, the topic came to my mind thanks to a conversation with a clanny in RuneScape. And if you are watching, unnamed clan member who inspired this conversation, I'm not sorry for our disagreement, but I mean, I can't really understand your side of it, because to me it just seems like a predatory business practice. However, you're still a great guy for the most part, and I'm still happy to have you as part of my clan. It's not my clan. It's the clan I belong to. My clan makes it sound like I am the leader of the clan. No, the leader of the clan is, well, as his name's right down there in the chat right there. Slappy up. Slappy. Yeah, he slaps a great guy. and does a good job leading the clan. I was going to make my own clan just for like the channel community, for if enough fans and friends wanted to join in on RuneScape, but I don't know. I mean, with this as the graphics quality and how I know a lot of people are pretty hardline about great graphics, and with being a click-to-move game, I know a lot of people hate those. There are just a number of issues regarding the possibility of trying to unite the community in RuneScape. But back to World of Warcraft, I got back into World of Warcraft and found out that it has joined the list of games that crashes my computer. Oh, my big brother Seth, thank him so much for the suggestion. He said, "Well, why not try RuneScape not RuneScape Classic, World of Warcraft Classic, because that is now a thing." It's not ideal. It's not an ideal thing for me because I actually like the current retail modern build of World of Warcraft. Just because I like feeling like an overpowered. I like feeling overpowered and strong when I'm playing a game. I like that power fantasy. And back in Classic, mobs that are at level with you are a threat. Up until like your maybe mid-30s or so, where you have some talents put into place, and you can possibly start soloing an elite or two, as long as they're, you know, slow elites and you're a Classic and kite. But yeah, so that being said, I might end up using World of Warcraft Classic as my backdrop for the majority of my talking videos. I just picked RuneScape for this one because I'm working on that yak track right now. That's what that stupid thing is called, yak track. But the thing is, as dumb as it may be and as tedious as the tasks may be, at the end I get that throne. It looks amazing, and I'm not wasting my time on. I'm not wasting this much time on a single cosmetic ever again in RuneScape. After I finish this one is it. I am not going to do another weeks-long task to be able to get my stuff from... did I check my... How many bones do I still have to do for this? Oh. And, of course, I clicked the wrong button. How many bones am I still behind on this? Bleh. Yeah. Now you guys see why I haven't been on. It's entirely my fault. I am sorry, and I will do better, hopefully. But I've still got a lot of this yak track to do. If I think of other talking topics, I can do more talk videos while using the rest of my yak track as a backdrop and ignoring my clan chat because of the fact that I haven't been reading or responding to any of this. But anyway, that's what I got to talk about for today. I hope it resonates with at least a few of you, and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye-bye, everybody.